All right, it's 7 o'clock. We're going to call the village board meeting number 3099 to order. Please call the roll.
Abernathy? Present. Kim?
Here.
Norton?
Here.
Rikus?
Here.
Russell?
Here.
Semple?
Here. Now, before we get going, I'd like our Deputy Fire Chief, Ben Yoder, to make a little announcement, as we do have a tornado watch in effect right now. So, Ben, you want to take the floor?
Yeah, we do have a tornado watch till 11 o'clock tonight. If we do need to exit this room, we can go into this room here, which is surrounded by concrete, or the washrooms. I do have my phone on, so if anything does come across there, I'll let everybody know. I'll interrupt, I'll be polite and interrupt and say it's time to go. So, yeah, follow me, you know.
Thank you, Ben. Well, Mayor Lentz is attending the little public hearing this evening that's over in Grays Lake. This public hearing has been called for quite some time, and it has been part of our strategy to have strong representation there. While we can't talk about the strategy too much in advance of the meeting, because that would let our neighbors have a better defense, the mayor is there along with some of our legal counsel, and I believe we'll be taking a very aggressive stance in protecting what we believe is in the best interest for Mundelein. We have a couple of guests here this evening. I'd like to introduce Lake County State's Attorney Mike Nierheim. He's over here. He's going to be presenting an award in a few minutes. We also have the Buffalo Grove Police Chief, and who is also the Illinois Chief of Police First Vice President, Stephen Kestevens. You want to stand up, Mr. Kestevens? Thank you for coming this evening. So with that, could we all rise for the Pledge of Allegiance?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Next, could we please have a motion to approve the Board of Trustees' regular meeting minutes from June 22nd, 2015?
So moved. Second.
Clerk, please call the roll.
Abernathy?
Yes.
Kim?
Yes.
Semple?
Yes.
Norton?
Yes.
Rikus?
Yes.
Russell?
Yes.
Next portion of the board meeting is we'd like to open up the floor to public commentary. Do we have any folks here that would like to speak? Sir, the floor is yours.
My name is Harold Hansen. We are now entering our 8th year here in Mundelein, and I'm very happy to be here. I stand to congratulate all of you who in anything would do with supporting Kate Dickman. She's my neighbor, and when we faced personal challenges, Kay was there. So on behalf of, I think I can say this honestly, can I? Neighbors at Loch Lomond, we are thrilled that Kay is being honored. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Anybody else? Sir, the floor is yours.
My name is John Shotmill. I've been a resident of Mundelein for 56 years. And I just want to be here tonight publicly to thank the village board and the mayor for its continued support of Mundelein Days. Many of the folks in the audience were there and took in all of the, or some of the activities. I personally know how much time it's put in to prepare and put such an activity together. I personally want to thank the Public Works, the police, and the fire departments. Those folks work many, many hours. They take away from their family time so that we can have family time safe and enjoy the activities. Not many people know there is a Mundelein or a Mundelein Days Commission. They're all volunteers. They're the ones who plan. They're the ones who get other volunteers. the Park District, the American Legion, many, many groups put this together. Many of them are volunteers. And I think that's the heart to this community. I was looking in the paper over the weekend. In our area, we could probably go to a concert every night at a farmer's market. It's a wonderful place to live in this central Illinois, Lake County. So again, I want to thank everyone, particularly Mike Flynn. He has done this for many, many years. I personally have been involved. I kind of retired, but those of us who have volunteered and retired, when it comes to an activity like Mundelein Days, we're in charge of the weather. I think we did a darn good job. But again, thank you. Keep up the good work. Keep up those activities. If anyone was at the concert last night, you can see how many people enjoyed that music. I never saw so many people out on the bricks dancing, young and old. Thank you.
Anybody else this evening? Thank you. We'll close the public commentary. Piggybacking on Mr. Schockmill's words about the Mundelein Community Days, I wanted to bring up that we had over 35 unique events. Now Mike, I'm probably going to get a little bit of this wrong here, but in addition to the Little Miss and Miss Mundelein pageants that began earlier in the week, we started off with a blood drive on the 3rd of July and drew in 109 units of blood. The fire department, while we're talking about them, they held a pancake breakfast on Sunday, the 5th of July, where over 1,250 people attended. On Saturday morning, the 4th of July, over at Community Park, they had a 5K fun run. There were about 350 participants. There were 150 staff and volunteers supporting the event, along with 100 kids for a kids run. So there were 600 event participants and organizers, along with a few hundred spectators who were there and along the route. So it's close to 1,000 people to kick off Saturday morning. Again, we had the beauty pageants, of course, the Mundelein Munch, bands, the beer garden. We had a great little fireworks show, Mike. Good job again. Of course, we had the parade on Sunday, and I was told it was the longest parade we've ever had. The entries were backed up all the way into Carmel High School at the staging grounds. And after having ridden the parade, and as I have in many years, it seemed like there was more people watching this one than I recollect. The police department was well represented at the Munch. They spent a lot of time directing traffic after the fireworks. Of course, they were helping with the parade. They had a little event on Saturday called Cops and Bobbers. Chief, how many people attended that event?
We had 400 people attend the event this year. Over 450 fish were caught. The largest one was an 18-inch bass, and the smallest one was a 2-inch bluegill. The winner for the most fish caught 41 fish. So each of those categories I just gave you all got an award for the fishing derby, and they were all given a 1-year subscription to the Outdoor magazine, and they all got a fishing pole and a small tackle kit to go with them. So it was a great event, well attended and very successful. A lot of help from a lot of outside agencies also.
So all of this that we just talked about here happened since our last village board meeting. It's been a busy time for staff, and I can't not mention the unsung heroes of all this stuff, our Public Works Department. They do the setup, the cleanup, and the takedown. When you show up in the morning, everything's nice and clean for the pancake breakfast. They're the guys that did it all. So staff, congratulations, and Mike, you did a great job as usual. I think we've got at least one more under your leadership, don't we?
Yes, one more.
Fantastic. So with that, I'm going to officially wrap up the public commentary. We're going to go to presentations and awards. Chief Gunther, I want to turn the floor over to you to introduce our guests and the 3 awards that we have here this evening.
Thank you. First, if State Attorney Mike Nierheim is here, he will take the first award tonight. It's called A Life is Saved Award. Mike, thank you for being here.
Thank you, Chief, members of the council. We, as you all know, in this country, all across the country, and in particular in our area here in Illinois, are experiencing an overdose epidemic with respect to heroin. In response to that, we formed about a year and a half ago the Lake County Opioid Initiative, which is a group of leaders from all over Lake County. And the idea behind the initiative was to come together and get everybody working on this issue at one table. And out of that initiative grew several other initiatives. And one of the initiatives that came out of the law enforcement subcommittee of the opioid initiative has to do with a drug called Naloxone. Now, Naloxone is the drug that if somebody's experiencing a heroin overdose, if this drug is administered to that person in time, you can save their life. Now, fire departments have had this drug for years and have done a wonderful job saving hundreds, if not thousands, of lives using Naloxone. I'm proud of the police in Lake County because they stepped up several months ago and said, well, there are some circumstances where 911 is called because of an overdose and we get there first, just because sometimes the police response time is a bit quicker. Now, there are a lot of reasons why police, why people may detract from police carrying naloxone, liability, cost, things like that. But we work through those issues as an initiative, and I'm proud to tell you that Lake County is one of about 6 counties in the country where our officers carry naloxone, and now that domino has fallen where counties around the country are now equipping their officers with naloxone. And I'm very proud to report that since this past Christmas, police officers in Lake County, just here in Lake County, have saved 22 lives issuing naloxone to people that were experiencing an overdose. This issue, this problem, this epidemic of heroin is not unique to Mundelein. It's not unique to your community. But I'll tell you, your community is unique in how it's responded. Your community, your leadership, through your chief, through your mayor, through your village leadership, has really been at the forefront of our effort countywide, and you should be proud of that. Chief Gunther, from the beginning of our initiative, was on board in equipping his department with this life-saving drug, and I think it's fitting that in the past couple of months, 2 of his officers have saved 2 lives. So with that, I'd like to, on behalf of the Lake County Executive Justice Council, if I could ask Officer Anderson to approach. This is the Life Saved Award, and this is presented by the Lake County Executive Justice Council in recognition of his extraordinary public service to Lake County. On May 1st, 2015, his rapid and professional assessment of the emergency and finding an unresponsible overdose victim at the location where he was dispatched led to his joining the elite group of first responders in Lake County law enforcement who have administered the life-saving drug Naloxone. His completion of his department's training protocol, his familiarity with the use of this life-saving drug in the field, and his outstanding actions in the line of duty brought great credit to himself, to the Mundelein Police Department, to the justice community, as well as to the citizens of Lake County, and a life was preserved. His deeds, his work, his dedication has helped make Lake County a safer place to live. This is signed, it's presented, it was signed on July 13th of this year by Chief Judge John Phillips, by the Deputy Chief Judge, the Lake County Board Chairman, myself, the Lake County Public Defender, the Lake County Chair of the Lake County Judicial Committee, the Lake County Commissioner, the Lake County Circuit Clerk, the Lake County Sheriff, and the Lake County Bar Association President. Congratulations. Next, Officer Christopher Brigano. In recognition of his extraordinary public service to Lake County on both February 28th and May 1st, his rapid and professional assessment of the emergency and finding an unresponsive overdose victim at the location where he was dispatched led to his joining the elite group of first responders in Lake County law enforcement who have administered the life-saving drug Naloxone. His completion of his department's training protocol, his familiarity with the use of this life-saving drug in the field, and his outstanding actions in the line of duty brought great credit to himself, the Mundelein Police Department, the justice community, as well as the citizens of Lake County. In each instance, and again, Officer Brigano was present in 2 situations where 2 separate lives were saved. 2 lives were preserved. His deeds, his work, and his dedication have made Lake County a safer place. Signed July 13th, 2015 by all those people. Congratulations. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
I'd also like to add that on behalf of the mayor, the village board, the staff, and the residents of Mundelein, we're very proud of you, two individuals, as members of our team for this. Thank you very much.
The next award, Chief Cat Stevens and I will do together. I will defer to him first. Kay, could you come up?
Thank you, members of the board. I'm happy to be here representing the Illinois Association of Chiefs of Police as its first vice president. I also want to thank Chief Gunther for submitting this nomination to the association. As you know, the police department here for quite some time has hosted a Citizen Police Academy each year, and as a result of that, an alumni association was also formed. The purpose of that association to assist and support the police department in its overall mission. Members of the alumni interact with the community, usually through service projects, social activities, and public information fairs. It's at these events that the alumni and the academy is promoted, new members are recruited, and the association raises funds that are given back to the community to support different community events, youth programs, and help the police department purchase much needed equipment. Your nominee, Kay Dickman, attends all the Citizen and the Latino and the Senior Citizen Police Academies. She was elected into a leadership position with the Alumni Academy, currently serving as the organization's treasurer. She's always first to volunteer or donate her time to numerous programs. I'm told in 2014 alone she donated her time nearly 200 hours to a variety of different events. Told she's also a regular participant in the Amazing Mundelein program, which brings residents, organizations, and businesses together to volunteer their time and resources to complete projects for needy residents. Very commendable. In 2014, she attended the national conference in Arizona, where she shared many ideas and future programs, and she funded this trip herself because she felt the alumni funds were needed elsewhere. She's a driving force of the organization, not only donating her time and her resources as well. She's a tireless servant to the community. She's committed to making a difference in the lives of others and often putting others' needs before her own. She truly reflects the real spirit of volunteerism. So I'm proud to present on behalf of the Illinois Association of Chiefs of Police the Outstanding Citizen Award to Kay Dickman. You can come and volunteer for Buffalo Grove anytime.
And along the same veins, Kay was also recognized by the National Citizen Police Academy Association as the Citizen Police Academy Alumni of the Year. This is awarded to a member who has individually made a truly outstanding contribution and/or achievement contributing to the efficiency, effectiveness, and/or overall success of a Citizen Police Academy Alumni Association by consistently performing their duties with outstanding skill, productivity, judgment, and responsibility on a regular basis. As Chief Cat Stevens had said, it's an estimate, and I would say on the low end, that Kay gives well over 200 hours of her own time each year for any number of the events that you know that we put on, in addition to all the academies that she attends. Amazing Mundelein, all of our Special Olympic events, Park on Park, every parade she's in, always representing the Alumni Association and the other academies. Cops and Bobbers she was at this last weekend, our annual spaghetti dinner, Shop with the Cop, and the list goes on and on and on. She's at every single one of these things all the time. She can be counted on to be there. She, you know, in volunteerism, it's volunteerism, so you get what you get. But actually with Kay, she's the first person we end up calling because we know she's so reliable. She's going to be there, and she's going to do a fantastic job. We truly love having her involved and included in anything because she makes giving to others a priority for her, and her positive attitude is infectious to all those others that are around her. Mundelein is lucky to have her, and we are very thankful for everything that she does. So Kay, from the National Citizens Police Academy Association, congratulations.
And Okay, on behalf of the mayor, the village board, the staff, and the residents of Mundelein, I want to say thank you so much for all your help and your participation. Years ago, I thought there had to have been you and a twin because you were always everywhere. We're really grateful, and the fact that you have probably more friends here than all of us combined is fantastic. So thank you for all your participation on behalf of all of us. Thank you.
I thank all of you. These honors reflect the village of Mundelein and our terrific police force that we're delighted to work with, and the other alumni. I don't do this by myself, but it's to me, to have a national honor and to be honored by the police chiefs in the state of Illinois reflect greatly on Mundelein, and that's why I live here. It's a great town. And as I always tell everybody, maybe you can't do everything, but everybody can do something. So volunteer. It's a grand thing to do. Thank you.
Well, our next item on the agenda will be a public hearing for the appropriation ordinance. If you all want to stay, you're welcome to stay. We can break for about 30 seconds if you folks want to head out. If you were here for K, you're welcome to leave, or you can welcome to stay, of course. With that, the next item is, I'd like to have a motion from someone to recess the village board meeting so we can then break into the appropriation hearing.
So moved.
Second.
Clerk, please call the roll. Was
Abernathy? Yes. Norton?
Yes.
Rikus?
Yes.
Semple?
Yes.
Russell?
Yes.
Kim? Yes.
With that, we're going in, what do I do next, Madam Clerk? Is it call to order?
Motion to convene the public hearing.
I'll need a motion to convene the public hearing for the appropriation ordinance public hearing.
So moved.
Motion by Abernathy.
Second.
Second by Kim. Clerk, please call the roll.
Abernathy?
Yes.
Kim? Yes. Semple?
Yes.
Norton?
Yes.
Russell?
Yes.
Rikus?
Yes.
Next, am I calling to order? Yes. Next, I'd like to call to order the appropriation ordinance public hearing. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Abernathy?
Present.
Kim?
Here.
Semple?
Here.
Norton?
Here.
Rikus?
Here.
Russell?
Here. Now I'm just going through the, okay. After the call to order, the purpose of this hearing is to review and receive public comment on the proposed appropriation ordinance for the fiscal year ending April 30th, 2016. As far as public notice is concerned, a legal notice was published as required by state statute in a newspaper with general circulation in Mundelein. The newspaper was the Daily Herald on July 2nd, 2015. The draft of the ordinance has been available in the customer service office at the Village Hall for public review. The amount of the appropriations being requested will be corporate fund, $30 million, special projects, $29,550,000, water and sewer projects will total $21,400,000 for a total appropriation of $80,950,000. The commentary is these appropriations are the legal limits for village expenditures for fiscal year ending 2016 with the amount of $80,950,000. To date, there have been no written comments received by the village with respect to this proposed ordinance. And for informational purposes, the prior year total appropriation was $84,050,000. With that, concerning this appropriation ordinance, I'd like to open up the floor for comments from the public, if there is any comments. Any public comments? No public comments. With that, I'll close the floor. After public comments, the floor is closed. Village Board, any comments from members of the Village Board? Charlie, is that it? And just with that, I'd like to call for a motion to adjourn the appropriation ordinance public hearing.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Motion, second. Clerk, please call the roll.
Kim? Yes. Norton?
Yes.
Abernathy? Yes. Semple?
Yes.
Rikus?
Yes.
Russell?
Yes.
Next on the agenda is a motion to reconvene into the Village Board meeting. Can we have a motion from someone?
So moved.
Motion, second.
Second.
And second. Clerk, please call the roll.
Abernathy?
Yes.
Kim? Yes. Rikus?
Yes.
Russell?
Yes.
Semple?
Yes.
Norton?
Yes.
Thank you. We're back in the Village Board meeting. Do we need to call attendance? Madam Clerk, please call attendance.
Abernathy?
Present.
Kim? Here. Norton?
Here.
Rikus?
Here.
Russell?
Here.
Semple?
Here. Next on the agenda, we're in the mayor's portion of the board meeting. The mayor would like to have a meeting call for a committee of the whole strategic planning session to be scheduled on October 5th at 6:00 p.m. right here in the village board meeting, in the boardroom. This October 5th meeting is one of our off Mondays. We do this at least once a year, approximately in the fall, where we get together with department heads and the public and plan for the next year and actually next several years as far as major expenditures, personnel issues, et cetera, et cetera. So that meeting is on October 5th. Please mark your calendars. After that, the mayor has requested the reappointment of Matt Kennedy to the Board of Fire and Police Commissioners. Now, just for everybody's benefit, the Fire and Police Commission administers the standards and testing for the recruitment and the hiring of the fire and the police departments. They conduct all the interviews with prospective candidates. They also conduct background checks and developing eligibility lists for fire and police. The Fire and Police Commission also are involved in the promotional interview process. So you'll often hear at the board level that we're not involved directly with employees on the hiring and firing. This is a clear example. This Fire and Police Commission, they actually take care of all the hiring of the police and firemen. It's truly not something under the purview of the village board. Of course, the department heads sitting up here at the board, at the dais with us, they do answer to the village board, and we are helpful with hiring them. But as far as this commission member, Matt has been serving for quite some time. It's a very, very busy time for both the police and fire departments. So with that in mind, could I ask for a motion to approve the mayor's commission reappointment of Matt Kennedy to the Board of Fire and Police Commissioners? And as an FYI to everybody, Matt got called out of town up to a business trip in northern Wisconsin earlier this morning for this evening, so he's not here. Could we have a motion, please?
So moved.
Motion by Norton, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Russell. Any discussion on the motion? Thank you. Floor is closed. Clerk, please call the roll.
Norton?
Yes.
Russell?
Yes.
Kim? Yes. Abernathy?
Yes.
Semple?
Yes.
Rikus?
Yes.
Next, we're on to trustee reports. Public Works Committee Chairman Russell, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Trustee Semple. 2 items tonight, and I'm going to pretty much let Adam take them and run with them.
First one is our water system master plan. The board had authorized staff to go out and update our master plan. Staff had been about 8 years since we had last updated our water model, and there's been enough developments in that time to warrant the update to the model, as well as start examining what our needs are from a capital standpoint for the system as well. What the master plan told us was that the system is extremely healthy in its current state, provided us with some recommendations for improvements over the next several years, but it also gave us a good indication of what we should expect in the future, which is about 4 to 5 years from now, if the growth projections play out as specified in the comprehensive plan, we will need to look at getting additional allocation from the Department of Natural Resources for additional water, because right now our current allocation would not meet our needs at that time. So that's basically the high-level overview of the plan. If you'd like to view the report or get a copy of it, we'd be happy to provide it to you.
Thanks, Adam. You want to talk about the hydrant flushing, or is?
Sure. The hydrant flushing is just another informational piece that we're giving you, telling you what we've done this year as far as how many hydrants we have flushed. We hope to get to each of them on about once every 3-year cycle right now is about what we're averaging. So every 3rd year, the hydrant is addressed and maintained so that it is properly flowing, as well as getting the hydrant flush. It also provides us with our ability to do kind of a proactive inspection of each hydrant in town as well.
Thanks, Adam. He does a great job, makes my job easy. That's all. Trustee Semple.
Thank you, Chairman Russell. Next, we'll go to the Finance Committee with Chairman Semple, which is me. Didn't know how we'd do that transition. But anyway, the fiscal year end 2016 appropriation ordinance, we just went through that. And with that in mind, I'd like to make a motion to approve the fiscal year ending 2016 annual appropriation ordinance in the amount of $80,950,000. So motion by Semple, is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Rikus. Any discussion on the motion? Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Semple?
Yes.
Rikus?
Yes.
Norton?
Yes.
Abernathy?
Yes.
Kim?
Yes.
Russell?
Yes.
Next part is the exciting part of the board meetings. We'll have the payment of bills. We have almost $2 million worth of bills we'll be paying in a few minutes. Top 5 bills were to Campanella and Sons for $361,000 basically for the Lake Street, Walnut Street, Clearbrook Park Streets, utilities and construction project. We're also paying about $272,000 to Delco Construction for the Archer Commons build-out for the KSN law firm. We're also going to spend about $203,000 for Pertano Construction for the Route 60 water main replacement project, and that's actually going to be the final payment. We've got about $198,000 going to Central Lake County Jawa for our monthly Lake Michigan water bill payment. And we're also paying about $49,000 to Metro Paramedic Services, which is our monthly contractual services for our contracted out paramedic services. So with that in mind, I'd like to make a motion to approve the payment of bills as indicated in the governing body report for the period between June 23rd, 2015 and ending July 13th, 2015 in the amount of $1,906,168.09.
So moved. Second.
Motion by, did I make?
And I'm sorry, I goofed.
That's all right. Motion by Semple, second by Abernathy. Any discussion on the motion? Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Semple?
Yes.
Abernathy?
Yes.
Russell?
Yes.
Norton?
Yes.
Rikus?
Yes.
Kim?
Yes.
Thank you. That is all for Finance Committee. Public Safety Chairman Rikus, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Trustee Semple. I would just like to possibly turn it over to Chief Gunther maybe, you alluded to this earlier, Trustee Semple, maybe Chief Gunther can tell us a little bit more how community days went and any upcoming events that are scheduled.
Community Days was very uneventful from the police side of things, which is good. You know, and actually what I would say is we had some conversations on the first nights, and you kind of get a feel for where the crowd's at. And, you know, our crowd was really good. It really presented well, and things were very uneventful from our perspective. You'll get my official report in the next week that gives you all the detail on overtime and hours spent on what particular things and so on and so forth. But by and large, a very uneventful thing, which is very good. Our crowds were not as large as they have been in years past for fireworks, but again, things went very smoothly. And in terms of upcoming events, the only thing I would say is we have National Night Out coming up on August 4th. I'll remind you again at the next board meeting, but that begins at 7. The key events that evening are going to be a full canine demonstration with Titan. You'll have an outdoor movie, Big Hero 6 will be showing for the kids. We'll start just after dark, and we'll also be doing some tie-dye shirts, so it'll be a good time. All right?
Thank you very much. And then I'd like to also call on Deputy Chief Yoder, and maybe he could tell us a little bit about community days from his perspective, and any other upcoming or other events.
Well, as Trustee or Mayor Pro Tem Semple stated, we did serve about 1,250 people at our pancake breakfast. And if you figure about 4 pancakes per person, that's roughly about 5,000 pancakes in about 4 hours. So that's some wicked cooking going on there. We also did supply or participated in giving kids rides on Engine 2. It's an old engine we've converted over, and the kids get on it and they go for a nice ride. I think the parents enjoy it more than the kids do sometimes. Also in the parade, you would have noticed several antique fire departments or other neighboring fire departments participating in our 100-year anniversary. It's a great showing from the other communities in our area. I would also like to say that firefighter Ulrich/Stone, because she just got married, so it's under Ulrich, but she received her Fire Officer 1 certificate, which is important. It helps her move into the lieutenant position. And Lieutenant Jones has received his Fire Officer 2 certificate, which is necessary for the lieutenants to obtain. We did have a couple of calls. We had no activity of fires, like in some past times where their own home fireworks causes fires. We didn't have any of that over that weekend. But we did have electrical fire over on Allenson Road, which caused that business to shut down for quite some time until Edison came and corrected the power issue there. And over on High Street on Saturday, we had a situation where we went to a Mavis Alarm EMS box. It's a normal procedure where these people pour sulfuric acid into their drains to clean them. Unfortunately, this person felt if 2 gallons was good, 5 might be better, causing the transport of 6 patients. None of them were life-threatening, but they did have difficulty breathing. We did get 3 releases, so we had 9 total patients. We had 7 departments come to help us out. So I think that's it. We ventilated the building, and there's no cause for alarm for anything else. But I bet that person's going to be instructed how to properly pour the acid down the drain from here on out. So that's it, sir.
Thank you very much. I would like to make a call for a Public Safety Committee meeting for July the 27th, beginning at 6 o'clock and going till 6:45. And also part of my report, I'd like to share with you an experience I had of how I learned firsthand about Mundelein Community Service. About a week and a half ago, I had the honor of going on a ride-along with Officer Eric Kravitz. And during that ride-along, he had 3 incidents that occurred, which really demonstrated to me the words community service that we hear so often in the village of Mundelein. One was an accident occurred immediately in front of us, like 2 or 3 cars. Well, he did immediately exit the car that we were in, went to check for injuries, and started taking over to make sure that everyone was okay and that the vehicles were off to the road. In the meantime, Officer Jim Waits and Officer Justina Baldwin arrived, and they also began to take charge of the scene.
But when it was all calm and quiet, one of the individuals in the accident was a young lady. And she was there very nervous, very upset, and she had no transportation to get home since her car was inoperable. And Officer Kravitz said, "We'll drive you home. You live in Mundelein. We'll drive you home." And it just seemed to me that he could have just said, "Well, you'll have to call somebody, keep trying." But he took it upon himself to say, "We'll drive you home." When she got in the car, he took it upon himself to more or less calm her down and reassure her that everything was going to be okay. The second incident that occurred was just a vehicle stopped in the middle of the road. Well, he got the call, we went there, he pulled up behind it, turned on his flashers, and talked to the driver, who said, "My car just stopped and it won't start." Well, here again, he could have gone and just said, "Well, I'll stay here until you get a tow truck or someone." And what this officer did was he got out of his car and he pushed the car off to the side of the road by himself. The third one were two young ladies who had locked themselves out of their car. He came there, and when he arrived, the smile on these young ladies' faces it was just shining. And what this meant to me was, this is what community service really is in Mundelein. This one officer left 3 residents in Mundelein with a good feeling because he helped them. He could have taken different ways of handling the situations. Like I said, he could have said, "Well, you'll have to call the tow truck, I can't drive you home," or "Sorry, you'll have to go and call somebody else to help you," but he didn't. And it occurred to me, with all the police officers we have on the street, this was just one officer that I personally saw demonstrate community service. And I would just like to mention to Chief Gunther that I was very proud to ride with him and to be shown exactly what is meant by community service in Mundelein. So please extend my sincere good words to Officer Kravitz. Thank you very much, Trustee Semple.
Thank you, Chairman Rikus. Community and Economic Development Committee, Chairman Abernathy, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. Okay, first I'd like to have a motion to approve the Board of Trustees Community and Economic Development Committee meeting minutes from June 22nd, 2015 at 6:45 PM.
So moved.
No, I moved. You second.
Second.
Motion by Abernathy, second by Norton. Madam Clerk, please call the roll for the committee members, I believe.
Abernathy,
Yes.
Norton,
Yes.
Russell.
Yes.
Okay, now I have a motion to adopt a resolution approving a preliminary and final plat of subdivision for the Fairhaven subdivision.
So
Second.
moved. Or,
I made the motion.
okay, second.
Motion by Abernathy, second by Kim. Any discussion on the motion?
I do have a question. We're just approving the preliminary and final plat of design, correct?
That is correct.
And do we know, has any of it, it's not changed since our original, because I didn't see. It hasn't changed since the original design that we received?
No, there has not been any changes. There have been some minor tweaks, but nothing that I would consider major. We do anticipate bringing the redevelopment agreement for this project at the next board meeting.
Okay. And that will include the exterior and the facade?
We'll bring the entire package, including the site, the landscaping, et cetera, as part of the redevelopment agreement.
Perfect. Okay, thank you.
Additional discussion? Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Abernathy,
Yes.
Kim,
Yes.
Norton,
Yes.
Rikus.
Yes.
Russell,
Yes.
Semple.
Yes.
Okay, and next I have a motion to pass an ordinance approving the transfer of special use permits under ordinance number 11-06-36 to operate a family recreation facility and ordinance number 13-06-25 to operate an outdoor amusement facility for a go-kart track on the property located at 342 Town Line Road from Party Fantasy Inc. to Party Fantasy Mundelein Inc.
So we have a motion from Abernathy. Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion on the motion?
Yeah, I'd like to ask a question. Are all of the terms that were all of the terms, Mr. Barrera, that were originally defined for the original owner passed on to this owner? Because I recall that there were some restrictions. Are all of those restrictions and everything else the same? Or is it now that this new owner has to reapply?
No, all of those restrictions are transferred over with the approval of this ordinance.
So exactly the same thing. Thank
Yes.
you. That's
All
the
we're
only-
doing is requesting a motion to acknowledge that there's been a change of ownership, and by way of change of ownership, we're passing those rights on to that new owner.
Okay, thank you. That's the only question I had.
Any additional discussion? Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Abernathy?
Yes.
Norton?
Yes.
Kim?
Yes.
Semple?
Yes.
Russell?
Yes.
Rikus?
Yes.
Okay, and now regarding the building department fee schedule, I have a motion to pass an ordinance amending Chapter 16.06 of the Municipal Code of Mundelein regarding building department fee schedules relating to the new sign ordinance.
We have a motion on the floor from Abernathy. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Kim. Discussion on the motion?
I'd like to throw in a comment. Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. I just wanted to say that I really like the reduced rates on this. You guys did a great job. These business fees, it's less than half. Like, you slashed it more than half. It's great. I'm really looking forward to this. Thank you.
Additional discussion? Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Abernathy?
Yes.
Kim?
Yes.
Rikus?
Yes.
Semple?
Yes.
Russell?
Yes.
Norton?
Yes.
Okay, and usually I comment on all of the different events that have been going on in the community. However, that's all been done, so we don't need to do that again. But just, I will say thank you to Mr. Flint for wonderful community days. I know how much work you put in that. And the police department and fire department and all of the staff. Something else I'd like to state is going with the building department. They've had a new, for minor permits, a summary I have for you. And since January 1st, 2015 through June 30th, 2015, we've had a total of 741 permits that have been applied for at the village. And those are anything from air conditioners, driveways, additions, decks. Am I correct?
Yes, except for what you have there is only for minor permits.
Right.
So additions wouldn't count in that.
Oh, okay.
We had a little over 900 permits total.
Okay.
700 were the smaller ones.
7 ones were the minor ones. Okay, and of the, what they're trying to do is have a less than 5-day approval rating for these permits. And 692 were approved in less than 5 days at a success rate of 93%, which I think is fabulous, because we're trying to be a little more friendly to people out there. And I think it's great that the building department is being able to do that. We're trying to hit that 90%, and we're well above it. The average days to approve this is 1.7 days to approve a permit. That's what's been tracking. So I say thank you, and I think the residents are probably very happy that they don't have to wait weeks and weeks to get projects finished. And other than that, I am done.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. Regarding Communication and Marketing Committee, Chairman Kim, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. As far as marketing goes, well, to be frank, I follow all the Google alerts, and we took kind of a hit this week. I just wanted to address real quick. I've seen a couple of posts and received a few emails regarding some people saying that they didn't want to shop in Mundelein anymore, and residents that said they wanted to move out. So please, I'm looking in the camera, anyone listening, Please do not boycott our town's businesses, as that will just hurt us all collectively. The business owners and residents will be the ones hurting. Meanwhile, the person you're trying to protest receives the same paycheck. So if you want a solution, assemble yourselves to vote in 2 years, and that's the realist answer. So if I could just lay that down to bed. Aside from that, in community days, we had for the first year a civic section where we had different organizations come and give an info table, and that was pretty good. I would have to say that the feedback was mostly positive in that they were able to get a table for free and give out tchotchkes, and people were visiting and asking questions, so that's good. And we also received a bunch of free t-shirts from Ultimate Screen Printing that had the Mundelein logo on them, and those were really well received. I saw Trustee Abernathy and Trustee Norton passing them out to the audience. And in fact, even after the carnival, people were still asking for them. So that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. Transportation Infrastructure Committee, Chairman Norton, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. I have no motions tonight, but I did attend the Holly Street open house last week. I think that it went really well. There was a great presentation on the scheduled work that will be happening, as well as all the new changes and improvements. If Director Boucher would like to say a few words about it.
The project's pretty much already underway. If you've been down Holly Street, you've seen some tree removal already started, some traffic control starting to get set up. So we're hopeful that we get the utilities started as soon as this month.
Thank you. And that will conclude my report.
Thank you, Chairman Norton. Any other reports from the board?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
I don't get this right, but Mayor Pro Tem, Trustee
You won't have to
Semple.
say it too
what-
often, so don't worry.
Yeah, him. I just wanted to bring up, coming up in August, and I was going to get to you earlier, there is a Superheroes Day coming to town. There is a large program going to be held at the Lake County Fairgrounds called ContiCon. It is a spinoff from Comic-Con, and if none of you are familiar with that, it's probably because you're as old as I am. It is a program that is geared towards the fantasy world, cosplay, so on and so forth. Anyway, the week before ContiCon, and ContiCon is August 23rd. But Superhero Day. Oh, excuse me. Superhero Day is August 23rd. ContiCon is the next week, August 27th and 28th.
27th to 29th.
Yeah, 27th through 29th. Anyway, the MBA, the Mundelein Business Alliance, is backing this Superhero Day. This is the first event of what they expect to be every year. This event will grow. There will be a small parade. There will be vendors, local business owners that will have booths at the Superhero Parade. There will be music. There will be a number of different events going on, and it will be centered down near the old Village Hall. So, mark your calendar. There's some more stuff coming out about it, some flyers and stuff that we'll be letting you know more about it. So, thank you, Trustee Semple.
Thank you, Trustee Russell. With that, we're on to other scheduled business, the omnibus vote items. We have 2 items on the omnibus. Could we have a motion to approve the omnibus as presented? Or if anybody wishes to remove any items, please make that motion now. So we have a motion to approve the 2 omnibus items.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Norton, second by Kim. Any discussion on the motion? Please call the roll, Madam Clerk.
Norton?
Yes.
Kim?
Yes.
Semple?
Yes.
Russell?
Yes.
Rikus?
Yes.
Abernathy?
Yes.
Thank you. Next item is village staff reports. Mr. Lebedo, Administrator, the staff floor is yours.
Yeah, thank you. I just have one item on the agenda tonight, and it's regarding electric aggregation. We spoke to the board at the last meeting and told you that we are monitoring this closely, and Mr. Hoover is in the audience right now, and I'm going to let him come to the podium because he knows a lot more about this than I do. And David does, he's the one that we work with. His company is NIMEC. David's the one that tells us everything we need to know about electric aggregation. So I'm going to ask him to address the board on where he thinks we're at and give you some options.
Good evening again. Nice to see everybody. Just in a nutshell, aggregation is a program by which you, the municipality, are able to positively impact the electric rates of your residents. So we've had the program in place before from 2012 to 2014. It was a big success. Some savings, substantive savings were achieved through the program. But when we came to renewal a year ago, in 2014, the ComEd rate was actually a little bit more favorable. So acting on the residents' behalf, you move them back to the more favorable ComEd rates. There has been some change in the manner in which some of these pricing parameters are now calculated. In other words, your load as a municipality now is a little bit more attractive to the suppliers. We went out to bid to determine what kind of rates we might be able to achieve. And I believe the rates are before everybody, the sheet. Is that right?
No, we didn't distribute the sheet.
Okay. So we went out to bid, and let me just preface to say that the current Commonwealth Edison rates is 7.13 cents is what we're expecting from October through next May. 7.17 rounds to 7.2. We went out and received bids today. The best one-year rate was from a company called Dynegy, and that rate was 6.78. So, about 0.4 cents lower than the ComEd rate for 1 year. The best two-year rate was a little bit lower than that, 6.7 cents for a fixed rate for 2 years from a different supplier. We do expect the ComEd rate to drop a little bit next year. I can't give any more quantifiable numbers than that, unfortunately. But we're thinking it's going to drop from 7.2 to the upper sixes next year. That's the best guess we have right now, next June. So before you today, we have live bids, and I would just kind of point you to the two bids. One's would be a one-year bid. Again, that is 6.78, and the two-year bid would be 6.70, slightly lower, and that would be fixed for 2 years. Obviously, the one-year bid is a little bit safer since we only can look forward to the ComEd rate through next June. They only publish that rate through next June. They publish it annually. So we're our benchmark, so to speak. We know that we know for about 8 of the next 12 months, and we compare quite favorably to the ComEd rate with a 6.78 one-year rate. However, putting a program in place for 2 years, there's more stability. There's less turnover, there's less communication, there's less staff time required. Once the program's in place for 2 years, it would be put in place. But there's a little bit of unknown, shall we say, on the second year of the ComEd rate.
We've taken a look at, the information that Mr. Hoover has provided us, and at this point, we're suggesting that you go to a 1 year, just because of the uncertainty. And so, because of that, we think that we ought to just go to a 12-month or a 1 year contract.
So John, how much would you anticipate this will save the average resident if we do follow your recommendation and go with a 1 year bid lock-in?
That number would be $35 to $40 per homeowner on an annualized basis. Community-wide, it would be approximately $2.7 million.
One other note, the board's already approved John to sign the contract. They did that last week, so there's really no motion required at this time. You've already authorized him to sign.
Yeah, we just want to make sure that there's no real objections to moving to it, so we thought we'd bring it back to the board.
Any trustees have any severe objections to staff moving forward with the directives from last time? Very good, John.
Save me money.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We'll be in touch tomorrow.
Yep.
Thank you.
John, the floor is still yours.
That is my only report tonight.
Thank you, John. Mr. Marino, Village Attorney, anything?
I have no report tonight. Mayor Pro Tem, I take it there's no for executive session.
Yeah, we have no need for executive session.
Madam Clerk, anything from you?
No report.
On the agenda, it calls for, we have a standard motion for executive session. There is no reason for executive session this evening. We're not going to need to have a motion to reconvene the board meeting after the executive session. Does any member of the board have anything else they'd like to add before I call for a motion to adjourn? Very good. Motion to adjourn? Motion by Abernathy, second?
Second.
Second by Russell. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. The ayes have it. Meeting adjourned at 8:01 PM.